Hello and welcome back to Veliki Preslav. Tsar Simeon I new capital was a modern city. He had running water and a network of pipes and canals that took away the rainwater and sewage. And baths. These baths were built according to Greek and Roman technology, and you can see here the remains of the underfloor heating system or hypocaust. The inner city was the center of the supreme secular and spiritual power. The inner city was protected by very tall defensive walls. A second ring of walls protected the external city. In the external city lived the boyars in their mansions. But in the external city there were also many monasteries, workshops and shops, and residential neighborhoods for the ordinary people. The round or golden church stands on a high terrace. The round naos, the central room, is surrounded by 12 semicircular niches. In front of the niches stood 12 white marble columns that supported a ring gallery, and on that columns that supported the dome. In the middle of the central room there are the remains of a pulpit. In the two corners there were two cylindrical towers. In the center of the yard there is a well for liturgical rituals. The round church was decorated with marble carvings, painted ceramics made in the famous pottery workshops of Preslav, and glass mosaics. The shape is reminiscent of other great churches of the era. At the time, this church was built to look as beautiful as the Basilica of San Vitale in Ravenna, the Little Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, and the Carolingian Cathedral in Aachen. Boris I knew what these grand churches looked like. Boris I had sent delegations to the Carolingian court and later to Rome. And in the era before photography, it was common for diplomatic envoys to include someone that could make drawings and write down things. And sometimes it was even possible to buy dioramas or small models locally. In short, souvenirs. And Boris' son Simeon would have seen Little Hagia Sophia many times. Simeon was Boris' third son, and not in line for the throne. The throne was passed from father to son, and Boris had abdicated in favor of his son Vladimir. But Vladimir was dethroned after he tried to reintroduce the old religion. Boris' second son had passed away, the only one left was Simeon. But Boris had chosen an ecclesiastical career for his youngest son, and Simeon had been sent to study in the top school in Constantinople, and had been ordained a monk. But in 892 Bulgaria needs a king, so at Preslav Church People's Council of 893 it is decided that the throne will pass from brother to brother. Simeon must leave the clergy and become king. The capital of Bulgaria moves from Pliska to Preslav. The Byzantine clergy is expelled and replaced with Bulgarian clergymen. Bulgarian replaces Greek in worship, and Bulgarian becomes the official language of the state. All in all, it worked out rather well. Simeon I became Simeon the Great, the king of the golden era of the First Bulgarian Empire. Veliki Preslav becomes the center of Bulgarian politics and diplomacy, and Slavic culture, literature, and fine arts. The Preslav Literary School, which was founded in Pliska in 886, was moved to Preslav in 893, and the Preslav Literary School was the most important literary and cultural center in Bulgaria and throughout the Slavic world, until the burning of Preslav by the Byzantine Emperor John I Zimiskish in 971. Among the prominent Bulgarian writers and scholars who worked in the school are Naum Preslavsky, Konstantin Preslavsky, Johann Exarch, or John the Exarch, Chernorizets Hrabar. Most of the work done at the school was translating religious texts into Bulgarian. But some of the writers produce also original work. For example, John the Exarch writes about the capital, about the court, and about Simeon, as well as about Bulgarian medicine and astronomy. Scribes from the whole of Christendom came to Preslav to make copies of the texts held in the great library. And it is through these copies that we know about the literary work of the school of Preslav. One example is the Codex Suprasliensis, called also the Redkov Miscelani. And we know who wrote it because the writer put his name on the margin of a page. Lord have mercy on Redko. Amen. Redko is a Bulgarian name. The modern form is Rata. The codex was discovered by the Russian researcher Mikhail Bobrovsky in the monastery in Suprasl in eastern Poland. The codex contains information about saints, martyrs, and homilies for the Easter rituals. Copies of the codex, like many other manuscripts, were made by the traveling scribes that visited Preslav, and then were taken back to the monasteries, like Mount Athos, and monasteries in Russia, Serbia, Wallachia, and Moldova. So, what happened? In 967 or 68, the Byzantines pay Sviatoslav, the king of Kiev Rus, to attack Bulgaria. Sviatoslav defeats King Boris II, but instead of handing over the territory to Byzantium, as agreed, he decides that he likes it and stays. On top of it, he begins to occupy the whole of northern Bulgaria. John Zimisces is the new ruler in Constantinople, and he goes to war and defeats the Grand Prince Sviatoslav I of Kiev. John Zimisces claims that he has liberated Bulgaria and takes Boris II to Constantinople. In Constantinople, Boris II is given a title and money, but the title of King of the Bulgarians is taken away from him. Boris is a de facto prisoner of Constantinople. Not everyone agrees that Bulgaria is part of the Byzantine Empire now, especially four brothers, David, Moses, Aaron, and Samuel. And I tell you all about Samuel and the Battle of Cladion or Cluj in my video at the Samulyova Krepost. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, that would be wonderful. I publish in English, in Italian and Bulgarian. Thank you for watching, stay curious, have a lovely day, bye bye! I'm not that young. Alana. Yes.